We met at Sunday school. I was 11 and Peter was 12. We were childhood sweethearts. We married at a very young age, had 2 wonderful children and planned to live happily ever after.
On the 18th of December 2006, the forgotten cancer, a brain tumour, took the life of my darling husband Fred, only 3 months after he'd been diagnosed. It was a ghastly time and I felt my world had come to an end.
That was until the day our fairy tale became a nightmare. On Peter's 56th birthday, he was delivered the news that he had a grade 4 glioblastoma multiforme, a malignant brain tumour of the very worst kind. It was terminal, and I knew from that moment on life would never ever be the same again.
We had only lived in Yorkshire for a few weeks when I noticed my husband had a change of personality. He was feeling very unwell and he had constant headaches. One day, just short of his 57th birthday, we were out walking in the street when he put his hands up to his head and said, "What's happening to me?" He was staggering all over the street. He then collapsed. He was taken to Harrogate Hospital, where he was diagnosed with a brain tumour. He went for a biopsy, from which he never recovered. I never spoke to him again and he died a fortnight later.
We lived the next 12 months on fast forward, cramming in as much as we could of the things that Peter wanted to do, but we were very aware that we were living with a ticking time bomb. However, we were almost challenging death to catch us up.
It's terminal. Those words changed our lives forever. We'd been married 33 happy years with 2 wonderful boys. Martin was a fit, strong, healthy man, and it just came from nowhere. No warning, nothing. It was 3 months from diagnosis till he died in my arms.
It became obvious that we couldn't continue to live life at this pace, and Peter's health was deteriorating. We then just lived very quietly at home, facing the inevitable outcome of this chilling, dreadful disease.
We hugged and cried a lot in the first few months. My husband John endured surgery, radiation and months of chemotherapy. I spent weeks and months researching every possible treatment and miracle cure. I was prepared to move mountains. I'm here today because we lost our battle and the miracle didn't happen.
Peter's health continued to deteriorate. He lost his vision, his speech, and his hearing. He was locked in this lonely, frightening world, which we used to call Peterland. I thought my heart would break watching the love of my life fade away in this manner. It was horrible.
We'd been married just 7 weeks when the tumour first made its presence felt. Until then, we'd had this wonderful relationship built on closeness. We could talk about absolutely anything, but it soon became the elephant in the room. It wiped Ian's emotions, changed his thought process. We ceased to be able to talk. After 3 weeks after diagnosis, he was given an operation. It was supposed to prolong his life. It went wrong. After that, he couldn't speak, he couldn't talk. He became completely bedridden and dependent on others, and he died after 11 weeks.
Peter died quietly at home after spending 4 days in a coma. During those 4 days, I did not leave his side. What was I going to do? I'd lost my best friend, my soulmate. I was inconsolable. I wished I were dead.
You never think it's going to happen to you, but it does. On March the 10th, 2005, my husband, my darling Jim, collapsed in Leeds and was rushed to Leeds General and diagnosed with a brain tumour, the worst of its kind. Glioblastoma multiforme, grade 4. My life would never be the same. A huge black cloud hung over us for 13 months. My darling Jim was courageous, positive, tried to fight and deal with the cancer, but it was impossible. But we didn't know it at the time. tried to be positive. Our 2 sons were at home, the youngest being 13. We rallied around as a family to provide love, care and attention, and nursed him at home during those 13 months.
After several years, I decided that I had to turn this very deep negative into something positive. I started at my kitchen table with a £1 coin from a stranger, a reporter's notebook, and heaps of encouragement from my dear friend Emma. Every penny we raise goes into research, and we've tried asking 1 million people each to give us £1 to help us raise our first million. Every penny we raise goes into research. Not 1 penny is taken out. And to quote a very dear friend of mine, your small change can help us make a big change.